Hello, family. Welcome to episode 2 of Breaking the Silence on Sexual Abuse. Note that our guests are survivors and not victims. I'm your host, Faith Mutanuka. Today, I will be joined by Luna, who was sexually abused by her biological father at quite a young age. Luna, I welcome you to this interview. Please share a brief background of how you were sexually abused.
I was sexually abused by my biological father. Yes. Um he did abuse me for a very long time, and it was painful, very painful, in the sense that you need the love from him as a father. You need to share a lot of things, moments with him, but the only thing you get is abuse. So I used to think a lot. I was mentally tortured in a sense that I would think deep, like too much things were on my mind because all I needed was father's love, but in the end I would get all the abuses in all kind of manner, in all kind of ways, you understand? And then the more I denied the abuse, the more I was tortured not to be given the needs of a girl child, um not to be given all the necessity things I need because I refused, and I was abused deeply. Trust me, this is the most painful thing in my life, in a sense that it's not any other person but your father, the man who's responsible of you being on earth, is trying to abuse you in all kind of different ways. So yeah, that's the way I was abused.
How old were you at the time, and do you have an idea of what led to a close relative taking such a step?
I was 14 years old when my dad started all the harassment of sexual abuse on me, rather towards me. Yeah, I didn't understand what was going on because I delayed to mature, and at such an age, it was difficult for me to understand what is going on, to understand what was happening. You know, um, those are kind of age where girls are vulnerable in most of the things. You understand? Because I wasn't thinking straight. I was very young. I delayed to mature, so I couldn't understand him, and I just don't know what was wrong with him. I would ask myself different kinds of questions. Why is doing that towards me, who's just a 14-year-old person? And I think for me, the way I saw my sexual abuse from my dad, I think he was trying to do some ritual things, you understand? According to how I saw it as I was growing up. Yes, I'm now 23. So whenever I think of that, I think I get a sense that he was trying to do some ritual things because he went on till I even completed grade 12. It wasn't easy, and there were many threats, of course. Yeah, yes.
Did you have anybody to talk to about the incidences? Is there anybody you opened up to at that time?
Well, at that moment when everything was happening, I was very scared being young. Um, so I started asking my friends at school indirectly, saying, I have a friend who goes through this and this with the father. What advice can you give to my friend, you guys? And then everybody would talk different views. And then when I take that personally, I will go think about it, digest it. Then I would wonder what is wrong with my dad, because everybody would say that's not normal. He's mad, he's crazy. And of course, that wasn't making sense for me. um As time went on, there was a nearby lady um, in my compound. I started talking to her because one day she saw me crying when I went to do my hair at her home. She had the salon at her home. I started crying. Then she asked me, "What's wrong?" Then I said, "Nothing." Then she was like, "No, you can open up." I don't know. It was just like a moment of me telling somebody, trying to open up to someone bigger. Yeah, who had a bigger girl child. So I opened up. She felt sorry. We shared our emotional thing, and she started encouraging me and telling me, "No, you should be coming, but don't try to do that." Yeah, so she started helping me in one way or the other. Yeah.
How have you been affected as a result of being sexually abused?
Well, I've been affected um in many ways as a result. Yeah, growing up with that torture within you, because there are a lot of things that develop inside. There's emotional pain, mental torture. You fail to talk, you fail to express yourself. um Mostly I was affected in class. I wouldn't talk because whenever I talk I would make a mistake, so everybody would laugh at me. I never used to talk. I didn't have friends because I was scared. Probably even them, they would tell me this and this or that. I started getting scared of boys, men, teachers, male teachers at school. Everywhere I would go, I wouldn't want to be in contact with any man, with any boy, because I thought it it will be the same thing that I'm passing through home. Even those people might do the same things to me, you understand? So if I'm going in a certain road, I meet two guys are walking, I would go back and find their different path, or stand next to a certain lady and just wait for those people to pass, then I go. It really affected me a lot, like 100%. It did affect me too much.
We have such a touching story from one of the many female survivors of sexual abuse. Staying silent about issues in our communities that are affecting this generation is definitely not solving any of them. This is why we are breaking the silence on sexual abuse. Now, considering the effects that this has had on you, how would you describe the relationship you share with your father as at now?
um the relationship as of now is not even stable. I don't talk to my dad. I don't want to see him. I would never want to see him. I wouldn't want to even ever smell him. I don't know, to even like breathe the same air with him. It's very painful. Even though they say forgive and forget, yeah, you can forgive, but the fact is that why would that person think of me personally, me as a child, as a thing that he can abuse? There are a lot of maybe prostitutes out there, women you can propose to and do all kind of funny thing, but a child like me, to make matters with my father, whom I never grew up with, and then well, we didn't know too much, we didn't know each other well, you understand? And then I came to meet my father, and instead of me feeling that love, is giving me hell. So I just distanced myself from him because I've grown and I've come to understand these things happen. I don't know why it happens. So I've just decided to stay far away from him. I don't want to ever see him. I just want to grow my life, live better. Yeah, because for me it was like an option, you know. If I stayed in those funny abuse, I could have gotten educated. So I decided to flee from such abuse and just completed my grade 12. And then college, I'll see it myself through in future. Yeah.
As an individual who has survived sexual abuse, what advice would you give to somebody out there who may have come across this podcast and may have just been in a similar situation?
My advice to a person out there who's passing through the same abuse, the same sexual abuse, is that don't take your life. Love yourself, even though others see you bad, rather, or to be a toy, or to be some kind of things they can just abuse and throw away. Love yourself, don't take your life. You're more beautiful than that person sees you to be bad. And I think share such things with close people around you. Do not neglect yourself. Don't have low self-esteem, and make sure you report that matter to high authorities, the police, you know, some organizations that can help you and that can know how to go about that issue. Do not take silence, or do not take that fear, because that person just want to be using you over and over, or just want to be abusing you often. So when that person says, I'll use this against you, I'll get a knife and cut you into pieces like a chicken, or I'll do these funny things to you, tell somebody who's bigger than you within the household. If you're intelligent enough, get your phone and record them, so that that is even more proof to say that this person is trying to do this and this, threatening. Do not keep that fear. So for you to break out of the silence for the abuse, share with somebody who's reasonable, matured enough, and somebody you can trust. You've seen that, okay, this person will help me um, to towards this issue, yeah. And just be aggressive to fight back, because if you keep quiet as well, you know people take really advantage in these cases of sexual abuse, I might say. Yeah. So find somebody who can advise you well, find somebody who you can talk to, so that you share that information. Yeah.
Thank you, Luna, for joining me and opening up to every listener out there. To the rest of the VSI family, catch me next time on another episode of Breaking the Silence on Sexual Abuse.